Okay. Seems good as time as any. We'll go ahead and transition over into our Q&A section. If you do have wins, you can always bring them up. But this morning, this week, this month, this year, what questions have been going on? What questions do you guys have this morning to get some feedback from either other clients or coaches? What things are on your mind? What questions from business this week? Mr. Lance, what do you got, sir?
Hey, howdy. I had a question. I wanted to know what everybody does for like your staff for like a holiday party. But also what are people doing like maybe for their crews? Like if you work with a lot of subs or if you have, a lot of people that work for you, that may be different than like a work party, that you would do for your staff.
That's great.
Nice.
I saw a few hands come up. I don't know if they were answering this. Jennifer, do you feedback on this or did you have a question?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself.
You're
So
good.
one thing that we do is we kind of go down the line and we pick our favorite subs. And we're in the South, so Honey Baked Ham is a big hit. And it's also one of those things that everybody eats and everybody knows it's like a treat. You can definitely get coupons and then you can do like a mass pickup, which also saves money. But it ends up being like $70 to $90 a ham. And then we give those to our favorite subs. And everybody loves it. Everybody's super excited because, it's a little Christmas treat and then they can have it for Christmas morning too.
Oh, I love something like that. I love something that's more local, locally sourced. I think that's intentional and cute. That's awesome, Jennifer. James, I saw your hand quickly pop up.
Yeah. So I usually do I just invite everybody over and I grill out back because of course I'm in Texas, so it's not 30 degrees or anything. So usually, yeah. But then I also the last couple of years, about 2 years ago, I had Carhartt sweatshirts made up with the company logo on the front, and I gave those out to the subs and to the staff. And then last year I did I had they were Yeti, like Stanley Cup type Yetis, and I had the company logo and stuff engraved on those and gave those out. So just a couple little deals.
Yes, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm hearing is invite your employees over to Jay's house, and he'll cook
He'll
and
cook a
feed
mistake
for
You
everybody.
can clothe them.
And I'll smoke some brisket and some pork butt, and we'll get it going for sure.
Oh,
Mm.
love that.
Dang. Good old Texas barbecue, man.
Yes. Oh,
Can't
I
beat
bet.
it.
I forget, Bryce. You're a good old Texas boy. You
That's
love
right.
that Texas barbecue. My boyfriend is also from Texas, and at Easter we went over to my mom's, and she tried to cook brisket, and I think he was questioning his decision to live in Oklahoma or to date me at that point. Actually, missing that Texas barbecue.
Oh, man.
Jordan, I see your hand up.
What we've done in the past is give the week of Christmas to New Year's. So you already get 2 holiday days off paid. We just give that whole week off paid. So you get 7 days off paid, 5 from the company, and then 2 holiday. And that's just kind of our Christmas bonus / whatever. It's slow. It's a hard to schedule service work during Christmas and New Year's holidays. So that's what we've done in the past. Hopefully we can continue to do it as we grow, but it was easier with paying 3 or 4 guys, but we're going to do it again this year too. So
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Yeah, this is all great feedback.
Yeah. You see Dale put in the chat there for them on the plumbing side, they collect scrap copper brass all year. And then when they're slow, they sort it, cash it out, divide it, do kind of a year-end bonus type of thing. Probably more for internal team there. But yeah, picking up on generally, Lance, to your question of something intentional and more intimate, maybe personal for people that are internal, like the staff doing a holiday party sort of a thing, like a grill out or something, and then maybe some gifts for the subcontractors. Anybody else got some feedback there, stuff that they have done that's resonated well? You want to tell them what we do, Nicole? Oh, Mr. Chris.
Yeah.
Not something I've done personally, but I train in martial arts, and one of the things we do I'm kind of a coach, and I'm kind of involved. I do all the maintenance and stuff for the school. And at the end of the year, we do a holiday party at Dave and Buster's, which really, I don't know who has Dave and Buster's where they live, but it's like a main event. They got games. It's an adult game place. They have food and, all that good stuff. And that seems to be, everybody loves it. They give out the game cards. So it's unlimited play for the couple hours that we're there. And then we do awards and stuff like that. So we just use their conference room. It turns out really good. Everybody loves it. So.
That's so funny you mentioned that, Chris. When we hit 100 clients for the first time, that Friday afternoon, we walked into work and Robert and Tim canceled all of our afternoon meetings, and we went to Incredible Pizza, which is that, and spent the afternoon just being kids at Incredible Pizza, and it was so much fun. We had a blast, and it was more fun than just doing a lunch. It just was activity, and it was silly, and we had a great time. This year, what we're doing is we're also taking a half day off, and we're all going to go to a nice steakhouse that's open for lunch, and then we rented out a private bowling room, and so gonna do some bowling, and we also do a Secret Santa every year where you get somebody's name and you're able to buy something, and so I think you can get creative with it. And then I want to overemphasize people who have referred you work, subcontractors you really like, people who you want to refer you work, clients that you're just really grateful for. Maybe you did a really big project or whatever. Do something special. And the more local that it is, I feel like the more intentional that it looks, so go to your farmer's market, or there's always local shops around that have local products. Put together little gift bags. You don't need to spend, a ton of money on it, but taking that to those vendors who have done a lot of work for you, subs, even connections that you want to make for people who can refer you or use you. The holidays is a great opportunity to nurture those relationships and to say thank you to the ones you already have and just stay in front of them. And so really would recommend doing that. It doesn't have to be before Thanksgiving. I know that's 2 weeks away, but holidays, anytime November, December, great time to do that. What other questions do we have today? Comments, thoughts, things we're sorting through. Issues we're running into. Andrew.
Hey guys. So one thing that I am really trying to hone in on and do is a flat rate price book for my company. It seems like for the last, I don't know, probably a year, I've really tried to overcome this. I feel like I'm making a little progress, but I'm really trying to figure out the best system to help my guys on a service call or, anything to that nature, to make it quick and easy for them to not rely on me as much.
Phenomenal question. Yeah, we know a lot of guys that do that. And Andrew, you're an electrician. I know there's a couple other electricians in here as well that can kind of speak to that specifically. But yeah, getting some flat rate pricing, I got some suggestions for you. But any other folks in here that have done flat rate, whether good or bad, what experience, maybe what software? Uh-oh.
We're a remodeling company, and we work with a lot of flat rates because we offer a lot of different services. And so I guess like our general rule for it is, basically what is it going to be if it's worth it? And also I hate being in that position where I'm doing something and then you realize you didn't charge enough and it ends up being more work and you just wish you had never done it. That's kind of how I've chosen to price things out when it comes to minimums. We have a lot of minimum things, minimum electrical service call, minimum plumbing service call, minimum flooring repair. And I always just try to price it out to make sure that it's worth it for us. And sometimes it's really expensive. But we try to explain to clients that's like, hey, this is kind of like an all encompassing thing. It kind of includes a lot of things, it kind of excludes a lot of things. But this is how much it would be to do it. And a lot of times we get turned down by it, but I figured it's a good thing. I didn't want to do it and waste my time.
Yep. Yep. That's good feedback, Lance. I know Dale's got some suggestions there in the chat. I know that for me, or what I always do with guys, there are a lot of flat rate tools out there. We do recommend doing flat rate pricing because of exactly what you described. It gives your techs the ability to be able to price in the field, not rely on you as much. And it takes a bit of the argument out, like Dale was saying in the chat there. And it gives you that kind of standardized pricing nationwide. Now, every flat rate tool that you use is definitely going to require your maintenance on it, right? You're still going to have to make adjustments and make sure that it actually fits because it's doing national averages. So sometimes that'll put you above on some things and below on other things. But definitely it's worth looking at. There's a lot of different ones out there, but the two, and I'll put them in the chat in a minute, that I think most guys that I've worked with will use are either the new flat rate or Profit Rhino. There are ways to check as well, and what I would recommend to do when you look at and kind of evaluate different ones, shopping around a little bit, is if there's one that integrates with a scheduling tool or software that you already use, like House Call Pro, for example. The Profit Rhino system integrates really well with that. So yeah, again, the main points there is shop it around, see what integrates well with your scheduling software. Know that you're going to still make adjustments on it and keep up to date with it at least every 6 months. But you put in the effort up front and it'll save you all of those times and those phone calls every time after that. So it is worth the investment almost always to do that.
I
So
just I didn't have good luck with Profit Rhino. It was just really kind of hard to find where things were, how to maneuver through it. There was a lot of just it was very just confusing, to say the least.
I totally hear you, Andrew, and I can name even a few people on this call who have felt that way. I'm not going to call anybody out, but who also felt that way going through it. And unfortunately, Andrew, what I will say is like any software out there that's going to help you with your estimating or pricing, it's going to be a bear to learn in the beginning. Like any of them can work for you. It's just a matter of like making it work. If any, like Jordan, Matt, if any of you have found one that you like better than Profit Rhino, like put it in the chat. In no way is Profit Rhino the end all be all. There's so many different ones out there, and I would test like 2 or 3 before choosing one. But when you do choose one, just like physically, mentally, emotionally commit that like this is going to be a bit of a bear. It's going to be a lot of training videos. It's going to be a lot of asking questions. There's going to be frustrating moments where I want to pick up my computer and chunk it against the wall. Like that's just going to be part of it. And it's never going to be set in stone either. Like you're constantly going to have to be updating that price book. If there was an easier solution, we'd be offering it. It would make our jobs a lot easier. But it's just a matter of like whatever software you do decide to use, take advantage of all of the training. Make sure to get your guys to go through the training, have dedicated time to teach them it. And Andrew, one thing I found super helpful is having somebody else on your team who's like going through the training with you specifically. So if you have an office manager or a business partner or a lead tech, like have somebody with you, because it's just easier when there's two minds there trying to figure it out, you know? And so I would, if you have somebody on your team that can like sit down with you and figure it out together, I find better adherence that way.
Okay.
That's great feedback. I'll add to that as well. You can make your own price book. Buying into a service kind of accelerates the process, but you will do the same thing in either scenario. You will eventually be rebuilding out your price and figuring out how much it costs on each of these services, and you're pricing as best you can for 80 to 90% of your average services. But buying a price book gets you that initial chunk, like that 60, 70% of the way there a little bit faster, but you can also do it manually, although that's probably not ideal because it won't update as regularly. So there's more to redo. Mr. Russell.
We used Profit Rhino for a while, and then really what I did is like kind of like what Dale said was, customize it to what your needs are. And I took some time just like with 2 computer monitors and just copied a lot of what I liked and customized it more to what our specific industry was. Like, for example, in electrical, if you're going to do a panel, Profit Rhino wanted you to pick the panel and then pick each individual breaker that was going to put into it, and then all the conduit and stuff like that. So I basically did like a map of like, hey, if we're going to do a panel, this is a panel up to 50 breakers. And I just had like a price for that. And this is a premium panel, 50 breakers, a mid-range panel, 50 breakers, a basic panel, 50 breakers. And then so it's like easier for our techs when they don't have to select one thing instead of make an estimate that has 50 different things that you have to put into it. So that's kind of how I like adapted with Profit Rhino. Is I took their pricing on like the smaller, like one-off things, like change out a light or change out an outlet or things like that. I took a lot of the stuff from it, but then I took like our bulk things like EV chargers, generators, stuff like that. And I just made like, oh, click one button premium option, click one button mid-range option, just to make it simpler for the techs out in the field. And then just the general rule of thumb we try to go through when we're estimating is materials should never be more than 25% of the job. So if it's a $500, if there's $500 in material on the job, it should be a $2,000 job.
Love that. And it looks like, Dale, that's exactly what you guys did too. Andrew, what industry are you in?
I'm an electrical contractor.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Dale's a plumber and Jordan's an electrician. That's great. Any other questions, feedback on this, or new question entirely? Either put it in the chat, raise a hand, unmute.
I've got a question.
Tell us, Alex, what's happening?
We're going, our insurance company, we're coming to the end of the contract and we're going to have to renew. I've been looking around. I wanted to kind of expand what our insurance covers. Right now, it's only interior. So I'm looking to expand, but when I was looking online, everything is coming out to like $1,000 per month or like $700 per month. I'm not sure if I'm entering something in wrong or whatever, but just for what I'm doing, I feel like it shouldn't be that high. And I was going to ask, what do y'all tend to pay for insurance when it comes to general contracting? And then for only residential projects. And then are there companies you can recommend?
Nice.
We're paying about $400 a month for our general liability and contractor insurance. Doesn't include obviously auto. But
Yeah, thanks for that feedback, Scott. Anybody else able to chime in on that? That'd be more of a client-specific question.
Are you doing exterior work like roofing and siding?
we don't do, well, we have 1% roofing, so we're not on roofs very much. So that may lower it if you're a roofing contractor.
Yeah, we do. It actually goes up pretty high if you're a roofing contractor. I think we're for general liability about 20,000 a year, give or take a couple grand. And it's mostly all in the roofs that spikes that price, at least for us.
It's about 1,600 a month, 1,700. Yeah. Anyone else residential contractors? Can give a rough idea of what you pay for insurance.
I would also
Maybe
ask that in the chat, Alexander, if you haven't already.
Mhm.
Just might get more feedback there as well.
Wow. That's a good deal, Dale.
And I think, Dale, your insurance guy also has a pretty nice tailgate at the OU games every week that you go to as well. So your insurance guy is just working wonders. I love it. Yeah. Alex goes, send me his number. What other questions do we have today? Thoughts?
I've
Things
got a
we're working
question.
through. Tell us.
I'm on my way to a shadow day for a potential client.
Ooh,
Potential hire
yeah.
candidate. Wanted to know what were some things you all did with candidates for shadow days that helped you decipher whether they were skilled at the work you were having them do, or they were not skilled at it.
That's a great question. I would love to get some client feedback. Lance.
What kind of business are you in?
We do historic window restoration, so we do turn old windows back to new.
Huh. I like shadow days a lot. I usually what I do is like, I mean, for one thing, like I don't know if you're going, are you taking him along?
He's with my site manager now, but I'm on my way over there myself to see where he's doing, what they got to do.
Okay. I mean, having him run through like all the course of different things is good, I think, in my opinion. One of the things that just stood out to me, I won't be long-winded on this, is I just like to spend some one-on-one time with them. So I personally will like take someone along in my truck and they kind of just see what I do and like what I'm like and how I interact with the guys and how I interact with the client. And then I always just take them to lunch, just kind of pick their brain a little bit, see if they're somebody that I would like, I would personally like. I think that always kind of like is a big quantifier for me that helps me feel good about somebody that's going to work for us. But that's just my advice.
All right, I need to go on one of your shadow days. Let's go lunch.
Yeah, I do like that, Fletcher. I definitely have clients that kind of just throw the guy in and say, hey, I'm going to pay you cash for this afternoon. I'm going to just kind of throw you in, see how you like the team, see if you like what we're doing, do like some initial training, and we'll figure it out from there. If it's a good fit for both you and I'll give you cash for that day.
Okay.
I have other clients that do it a little bit more similar to Lance, where it's like that person's not doing any manual labor that day. They're just going to ride in the truck with him. They're going to go to the job site, meet the team, get an idea of what they're doing, and then do like a one-on-one interview from there. There's really no right or wrong. I think it's kind of just preference. I think either way, you're going to get a pretty good feel for the guy. And also, either way, you could hire this person and they could still suck.
Yeah.
Like it's not a bulletproof method. And so I think it's more so preference on how you want to do that shadow.
Yeah. And the reason why I ask is because since I'm not doing typical maintenance and alteration work, sort of like, oh, I put in a sink before, I've done plumbing before. Like I've shadow day people from HVAC, people from plumbing, people who are electrical, people who are carpenters. So I try to get people who have at least some acknowledges experience, but I try to find out if they have good hands or if they were just like working on somebody else's crew and the other person was doing everything and they were waiting for directions. Because at this stage, I'm trying to find somebody who has the skills,
Yeah.
or at least have something more than just watching somebody else do it or just following somebody else's direction. I need somebody who's ready to get started. So it's really difficult for me to find if they know what we do because they haven't done it before. I haven't met anybody who knows how to do historic window restoration until they start
Right.
working with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think in that case, it's really valuable to test their teachability. That's a large part of what the shadows days are for. If you can teach them something and they can kind of stumble their way through it, that gives you a little bit of a value. The other part is having them be with other people on your team. So a lot of it is just being around in that experience. There's not necessarily like specific questions that, I have people make sure to ask, but they will give rather a different version of themselves to someone else that's a part of the team, and they can give you more valuable feedback than you might be able to gain. Just by the nature of you being the boss and the owner, which is good in two ways, because one, you'll see their true colors, but two, when you ask your team for their feedback of having shadowed with them, so your project manager that's with them now, then they get that buy-in to the company of, oh, I get to shape the future of this a little bit, which is valuable too. So I'd be there. Mr. Russell, you want to go ahead and chime in here as well? Oh, you muted, sir.
We always do the first 30 days as a probationary period. And I tell them, like, the most important thing during your first 30 days is attendance. In Nebraska, we're like an at-will work state, so you don't really need reason to let someone go. But yeah, first 30 days is just a probationary period to see how you do. Make sure you show up every day on time. Make sure you're not missing days all the time, stuff like that. And then I try to go with the guys for the first week. I'm really doing that with my new hire right now, of having them stick with me for the first week. In the past, I have not done that, and it's always turned out not good. So regardless of if you're like a more established company or whatever, I feel like they'd have to just go with the top guy or something like that. But everybody going through change in a new company just needs somebody to be with them that's experienced with how the company does things. Oh, shit, wrong button.
Exactly. Chris, what feedback do you got on this?
I forgot I raised my hand. So in the past, what we did for the finished carpentry company, it kind of goes with the window restoration, but yeah, you're right. That's kind of a niche thing. So what we would look for, or what we would do, is bring them on, spend the first half of the shadow day to explain what we do, how we do it, who we are, our morals, kind of everything like that. So they know what to expect, what's expected of them. And then for the second part of the day, we'll give them a task and kind of let them, nothing too crazy, but just kind of simple to see how they act. If we need to babysit them, if, they're just clueless or what the deal is and how they operate, how they solve problems. And the other thing is a really key thing. Most people don't even think about this, but what tools do they bring to their shadow day? Do they have their own hand tools? Are they quality tools? It really says a lot about a person. You may not think that, he buys the cheap stuff and he buys the DeWalt stuff, but it does matter. Somebody that cares about their tools, cares about their work, cares about, how they do things. So and if they have the complete set of tools for the task. So it's really important. Finished carpentry is kind of, we require certain things, levels and chisels and nail sets and all kinds of things that a finished carpenter should have. If you don't have these things, chances are you probably weren't doing the job that we need you to do. So we actually had a list of tools. When you're on board, this is what you need to go get for work tomorrow. So go wherever you need to go, get your tools. If you need a couple days, you need some help financially, we can front you the, cash, but it's going to come out of your first check. So we'll work with them, but it's really key to see how they work, what their knowledge base is. And you don't really get all of that info necessarily on the first day, but it does help to look for those things and kind of just give them a little test, see how they handle it. You know what I mean? That's just my experience.
That's good. I like what you're saying there too. That's a bit of a culture dynamic. Like, I'm anticipating you have your own tools and to value your tools, and that when you use them in your work with us, the tools you use will be yours. They won't be in the company's. So we may buy them up front, but then you have to buy them back from us and then take care of your own tools. So that's sort of a culture dynamic that I do like. because I do have too many people losing tools. But I do not have a sign out system for the toolbox they get. But maybe they buy their own tools and be more mindful about even with the shadow. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Laura, I don't know if you have a question or advice on this as well, but would love for you to unmute and share.
Hi, good morning. So I am curious for feedback. We had an apprentice that had his entire bag of hand tools stolen from a job site that is well known to have subjective characters hanging around.
Hmm.
And I'm curious what others, what would be your, would you help replace his tools, or sorry, tough luck, you should have known better? And then also, do you provide a tool allowance, and what does that look like?
Good question,
Great.
Mr. Alexander.
So my grandparents own a bridge building company. They work for TxDOT. They build a lot of big bridges. So there's specific tools they need. And what they do when they onboard is they'll buy them really nice tools, but they say these are the only tools we're going to buy you. It'll be on us the first time, and basically like take care of them. If you break it, lose it or something, you have to replace it the next time. And this really changed the culture, because before they were buying so many tools over and over and over and over, and guys kept losing them, guys kept breaking them. They wouldn't wash out the paintbrush when they were done, and it'd be hard. But when they're on board, they buy them nice tools. They say, this is the tools we're going to provide you. You take care of them, you look after them, because this is all that you're going to get from us.
That's great.
Yeah, remember, I think Jordan had some. Yeah, there it is. His system with the spray paint, right?
Yeah, so we spray paint each van's tools a different color. We provide all the power tools, and then the employee is responsible for like an impact drill and hand tools. But the only thing, Laura, I can think of is just be careful of what precedent you set, because if this happens 2 years down the road again, then they might say, hey, well, last time you replaced, it might be a totally different set of circumstances, and they'll try to like hold that over you. Well, you did this for this guy last time, you know?
I think that's great. Setting expectations, whatever the policy is, kind of like what Alexander said, like in the beginning, whatever the expectations are, let's set them. And if these are employees that have been there for a while, it's okay to host a team meeting and say, hey guys, we're growing, expanding the team. We've got to have a policy about tools. Here's how we're going to handle it. If at any point you feel like it's unfair or it's a specific situation, come to us, let's talk about it, but let's have it written down. Let's discuss it as a team. You can even have people sign that policy. It can be, you can call it a tool policy, whatever you want to call it, but go over it, sign it, put it in a file, just like how we do the write-up policy.
Mr. Chris, what do you got, sir?
So we have the practice of, we don't leave tools on site anywhere. Everybody's responsible. If they're your tools, you take them at the end of the day. You want to leave them on site and have a chance, then go for it. But you better show up the next day with new tools if yours are gone. When we do leave tools on site, it's a secure job site, alarms, codes, stuff like that. And we chain it up or cable it up with our locks, which is usually the big stuff. Sometimes we'll leave ladders and stuff like that, but nothing too valuable. So don't make it a practice to leave tools on a job site. You never know who's going to be in there, who, you can't vouch for all the other trades. So we also mark our tools, spray paint them or etch them or mark them. We write, like on all our batteries, we'll take a permanent Sharpie and write on the top side of them, our initials or company name or whatever. So we mark everything. Don't leave anything around for chance. And it's just a good practice to have. Then you eliminate the problem altogether.
Totally. Nico, I see your hand up. What advice you got?
Hey, so what we do mostly is we do company provided tools. So it's not tools that the employees get to take home or anything like that. but basically our trailers are fully equipped at all times. So we have impacts, drills, hammers, hand tools. We have anything that you would need in one of our job sites. We have it on our trailers. Everything's organized by trailer or by truck. So like a big thing right now is batteries. So like one guy would borrow another truck's battery, and we have to like write on the bottom of the battery, hey, this belongs to truck one. For our apprentices coming in, we do hire a lot of apprentices coming straight out of school. So like our local one builders institute, and they get a small apprentice kit starting and coming from them. But us, we're also partnered with our local Home Depot to get discounted rates from Milwaukee Tools. And basically the tool buyback program where we purchase the tools, and we'll purchase a little kit, and they'll buy every check, they'll give us a stipend of what they owe. In that process, the ones that they do pay for, they can keep it on the trailer, but it has to be secured with their own lock just to make sure that nobody else is touching their stuff after hours or in the office. But personally, we try to get as much company owned things as possible, so we don't have to deal with the, hey, I have to replace your stuff on the job site, or hey, your stuff got stolen from one of our trailers. Now I have to reimburse you because you were in our trailer. And we do emphasize a lot of like, hey, listen, if you are anywhere, lock our trailers, lock up everything, put our wheel lock, put our trailer locks on, lock our vehicles. I do like pop up on the guys once in a while, and like say if they're at Home Depot, I'm pulling up to the truck first. I'm checking the truck, making sure everything's
That's
locked,
smart.
right? Because people aren't as careful with other people's things than they are with their own.
Amen. Amen.
So
Yes.
there's been times with like ex-employees that I'll pop up at Home Depot or Lowe's, and I'll see what they're doing, and the first thing I do is check the truck, and the truck will be unlocked. And guess what? We have thousands of dollars worth of tools and equipment in it. And that's when I go into Lowe's and I pull them aside. I'm like, hey, you left it unlocked. This is your next warning. Like after this, we're gonna start right. It's not your thousands of dollars worth of tools and equipment. It's mine. So that's
Yeah.
something we definitely emphasize.
I love that. And again, it's just setting expectations, and having a sense of ownership. Like whether you're in a dangerous job site or if, we have other subs on the job, like, hey, you're the representative of the company. You're the one who has the truck, has the tools, you're responsible for it. And so, again, we can go case by case if you feel like something's unfair, but like, I need you to have a sense of ownership over that. And we just need to set that policy in the beginning.
And going back to the other previous conversation about like onboarding new hires, something I stress in the first 2-3 weeks is something my mentor John taught me a while back, and was if in the first 2 weeks you do not notice your new hire has an owner's mentality, they're probably not going to make it for the rest of their term or time being there. So the owner's mentality is like, some people say you treat the company as if it's your own. And that's something I stress, and I talk to my new hires like during the interview process. It's like, hey, I want people on my team that are going to treat this company as if they're the ones running it or owning it, right? Not so much of the attitude of like, hey, this is my company. It's, hey, what can I do to help the company grow? What can I do to move projects forward? So that's something I definitely look at when I'm going through new hires or when I'm going through applications. That leadership capability, especially most of us being ex-military around here, leadership and responsibility and communication is a big thing for something that we're looking for in our area. Because I want to be able to trust you, and I want to make sure that the things that you're doing in our company is a good reflection of myself and also of you as a person and our brand. So that's something else that I look for in new hires in the first couple weeks.
Yep. Oh, I see, Laura, your comment. Love the ownership mentality. Me too. It's absolutely. What other questions, feedback do we got today? Thoughts, concerns, things we're working through. Jordan, what's happening?
When booking out jobs on service companies, how far out in the future do you guys book jobs? Like 1 week, 2 weeks? Like where do you guys kind of find that sweet spot where you're like, okay, I'm booked out 2 weeks, it's time to hire a guy, or something along those lines is what I'm looking at. I find personally when we're booked out more than a week, you lose a lot of calls. So just what other people's experiences in that.
Yeah. Any advice there? Jordan is in a service company, so electricians, HVAC. I know remodelers is pretty common to be booked out 2 weeks.
I've had where about 2 weeks. That's when I really start. Okay, what do we need to do?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think for getting past 2 weeks, people are calling someone else, and you're definitely not getting any of the like emergency or, you're not going to be winning any of those. Nico, what feedback do you have?
Definitely at the 2 to 3 week mark of like booking out, then somebody, like Nicole said, somebody's definitely looking at somebody else. But what I tend to look at when I'm getting booked out is what delays am I having? What delays am I having on the project or projects that we're currently on, right? Once you start hitting delays is when you start hitting like unhappy customers, right? So it's not so much of like what you're booking out, is what are you completing fast enough and what you're doing to ensure that that time comes down and whether or not your team is doing it properly. So that's how I see it more.
Yeah.
You can also start tracking calls that you lose based on time. So a lot of my service companies, once that starts to become an issue, we just add a column to the tracking document that's like not soon enough calls. So somebody that went with somebody else just because we couldn't get to them fast enough. And that can really let you know, okay, I could hire somebody tomorrow and have their schedule pretty full just on the work that we're losing because we can't get to it quick enough. So that's another thing that just gives you a really good kind of signal of when you need to add somebody.
Absolutely.
Also, do you guys ever leave like a Slack half day in people's schedules throughout the week? Because you got your week lined up and then one thing goes wrong and it's like, now what do we do? Do we push all the jobs a week? Do we put them on another week out? I don't know. That's an issue that we have. Scheduling's tough. It really is. So if one thing goes wrong, now do you bump that person another week down the road? Or do you move everything back? It's a lot easier to move one job. But I'm considering putting like a half day Slack in people's schedule just so that if something does go wrong, now you can fix anything that's gone wrong in the week during that Slack period.
You could also have a floater, Jordan, like somebody whose schedule is just kind of in general more open and you kind of plug and play that person. It might be you temporarily, but I would still say, like, if that's happening enough, you probably have enough room to keep another guy busy, somebody who can fill the gap, somebody who can take on those calls. And I know it can be nerve-wracking buying a new vehicle, outfitting it, getting a new person in, but you have to think about how much revenue could that person bring in. Like that's immediately going to be able to grow revenue and profits. And so I think if you're in that position where you're like, man, I need to start putting gaps in people's schedules because I'm moving stuff around, it's probably a pretty good indicator that you have enough work coming through to absolutely hire somebody else.
I would say when we switched to merit-based pay, that was one of the really tough things, is that like you can't pull, or it's tough to pull another guy who's not on the commission of that job to come help out, even if they've got an early day or whatever. It's like, but now what am I going to pay him for that portion that he's helping out on?
Right.
So that's where we struggle. It's actually merit-based pay has helped out a lot. I really like it, but it's made scheduling even more difficult because how do you pull labor to help out a guy that he's not getting commission on?
Totally. Totally can see that. And I know for a lot of my clients, they have helpers that they're able to pull, and helpers aren't going to be getting that merit-based pay. You know, they're going to be just getting their hourly.
That's
But
what
Dale,
Tyler's for.
yeah, oh gosh, no, Jordan, I about agreed with you and then no, we're not bringing Tyler back. No. Michael, I see your hand up. What feedback do you have?
Yeah, so rather than have this is what I've done, rather than have like a half day buffer with nothing scheduled, just in case, I'll book someone in that half day slot that's like recently called, they have a party coming up, they really want us to get to it. They would jump the line, and if we get to it, great. But if we don't, it's not like I'm having to call them and apologize to them. So it kind of gives us that buffer where if we need to use it, we bump them till later, and no harm, no foul. But if we do get to it, now we're at least really pleasing someone. So I don't know if that would work for you, but it works for us.
Yeah, I like that advice. I will say, like, people just want to be communicated to, and so just make sure that if a technician gets booked up, if they're taking longer at a job, that technician's responsible for communicating to the office or to their customers later in the day of what's going on. I kind of prefer the office to do that. I kind of like everything to go through the office because they're the ones seeing the full calendar where they can move things. But just really make sure your technician takes ownership over their schedule. If they're getting pushed back, if something's going on, they need to be communicating to the office so that the office can communicate to customers. And I would really try to avoid, pushing people back more than once, and I would try, unless it's a really big project that they're not too worried about, I'd really try, if you have to push them back, you're getting them in first thing the next day. Like I would try to prioritize that for sure.
I agree with you, Nicole. The communication is key. A lot of people understand things happen in life, but as long as you communicate with them, I tell my guys all the time, if you're running behind, let me in the office worry about that. Just let us know, and we'll deal with the customer and communicate that with them. But as long as we're communicating, people, more than not, truly understand.
Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. Okay, we've got 5 minutes left here. Any final thoughts, questions, concerns, grievances? Okay. Well, we will have group coaching like normal next week. I will remind you guys about Thanksgiving the following week, but I think you guys will already know it's a holiday. But if you guys need anything, reach out to your coach, book a laser call. I want everybody to unmute, and we'll do a big 3, 2, 1 growth. I'm going to wait till I see those microphones falling off. All right. 3, 2, 1, growth.
Growth.
Bye, guys.
Growth.